Imagine a world where a man claims to be the brother of Jesus Christ. Not just any man, but Hong Xiuquan, a man who would bring about one of the deadliest conflicts in human history. We're diving deep into the heart of the Taiping Rebellion. China, a nation under the rule of the foreign Manchu people, the Qing Dynasty. The country is in turmoil, riddled with internal strife and external pressures from Western powers. It's a ticking time bomb. And the fuse? The Taiping Rebellion, the most catastrophic conflict of the century. Now, let's talk about the Western powers, particularly the British. They didn't just have a foot in the door, they practically kicked it open. The Opium Wars and the subsequent Treaty of Nanjing exposed China's vulnerability, and the Chinese people were not happy. The treaty, which handed over Hong Kong to Britain and opened several ports to foreign trade, was a slap in the face. It was a national humiliation that stirred the pot of social tensions. Enter Hong Xiuquan, the man at the helm of the Taiping Rebellion. Hong was a failed civil service examination candidate, but after his failure, he had a series of religious visions. Influenced by Christian teachings, he believed himself to be the Son of God and the younger brother of Jesus Christ. These visions weren't just dreams, they were the ideological bedrock of the rebellion. But there's more. Economic instability was shaking China to its core. The introduction of cheap foreign goods, particularly opium, disrupted China's economy. And then there was the introduction of Christian tenets. The Taiping's radical interpretation of Christianity, which included communal property ownership and equality between men and women, was like a beacon for the impoverished and disenfranchised. The Sino-British Treaty of Nanjing was the straw that broke the camel's back. The treaty, which ended the First Opium War, was seen as a symbol of China's subjugation to foreign powers. The resentment it generated among the Chinese people was a significant factor in the rise of the Taiping Rebellion. All these factors came together in a perfect storm, influencing Hong Xiuquan. His religious visions, combined with the social and political climate of the time, created a potent mix that would explode into one of the deadliest conflicts in human history. The Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, led by Hong Xiuquan, was about to challenge the very foundations of the Qing Dynasty and shake China to its core. Hong Xiuquan, a man who believed himself to be the Son of God and the younger brother of Jesus Christ, established the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. The kingdom was not just a political entity, it was a religious movement that promised salvation and equality in a society riddled with corruption and inequality. The army was organized into separate men's and women's divisions, a testament to the egalitarian principles of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. The Taiping rebels were not just rebels, they were revolutionaries. They campaigned against the Manchu rulers, Confucian icons, and landed interests. They sought to dismantle the old order and replace it with a new one based on Christian socialism and utopian egalitarianism. Their victory sent shockwaves through the Qing Dynasty and the rest of China. The capture of Nanjing was a significant milestone for the Taiping rebels. They renamed the city Tianjin, the heavenly capital, and it became the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. From there, they launched an expedition to capture the Qing capital of Beijing. Although the expedition failed, it demonstrated the strength and determination of the Taiping rebels. The Taiping Rebellion was not just a military campaign, but also a social and political revolution that sought to upend the existing order and establish a new society based on a unique blend of Christian and traditional Chinese beliefs. This fusion of ideologies was the brainchild of Hong Xiuquan, a man who claimed to be the younger brother of Christ and the new Messiah. His vision was to create a utopian society, a heavenly kingdom on earth, where all were equal and the old hierarchies and injustices were swept away. Hong's revolutionary programs were radical for their time. He introduced land reforms, redistributing land equally among the people, a move that challenged the traditional landed interests and won him the support of the peasantry. Women were allowed to serve in the army and hold positions of authority, a stark contrast to the restrictions they faced in the rest of China. The Taipings also introduced literary reforms, replacing the classical Chinese language with a simplified version that was easier for the common people to understand and learn. This was a direct challenge to the Confucian scholar gentry class, who had traditionally held a monopoly on education and government positions. In terms of military organization, the Taiping army was highly disciplined and organized. They had a strict hierarchy and a clear chain of command, with Hong Xiuquan at the top as the Heavenly King. This structure allowed them to effectively coordinate their forces and wage a successful military campaign against the Qing Dynasty. However, these radical policies and the upheaval they caused were met with resistance. The Qing Dynasty, the Confucian scholar gentry, and other societal groups saw the Taiping as a threat to their power and the existing social order. This resistance, coupled with internal divisions and power struggles within the Taiping leadership, would eventually contribute to the rebellion's downfall. Yet, despite its eventual failure, the Taiping Rebellion left a lasting impact on Chinese society and the Qing Dynasty. It exposed the weaknesses and corruption of the Qing government, and its radical ideas of equality and social reform would continue to influence Chinese revolutionaries in the years to come. The Taiping Rebellion was a watershed moment in Chinese history, a violent upheaval that shook the foundations of an ancient empire and heralded the beginning of a new era. From the ashes of their victories, the Taiping Rebellion began to crumble. The dream of a heavenly kingdom on earth, once so vivid, started to fade into the realm of impossibility. Internal conflicts within the Taiping leadership further weakened the rebellion. Power struggles and paranoia led to a bloodbath within their own ranks, a self-inflicted wound that the Taiping Rebellion could ill afford. Meanwhile, the Qing dynasty was not idle. The rise of the gentry army system led by the formidable Zheng Guofan posed a significant threat to the Taiping forces. The gentry armies, composed of local militias, were more motivated and better equipped than the regular Qing forces. Zheng Guofan's army, in particular, was a thorn in the side of the Taiping Rebellion, constantly harrying their forces and undermining their efforts. The capture of Nanjing, the heavenly capital of the Taiping Rebellion, was a devastating blow. The city, once a symbol of their power and the seat of their heavenly king, fell into the hands of the enemy. Hong Xiuquan's fanatic killing spree further destabilized the Taiping leadership. His paranoia and ruthlessness created a climate of fear and mistrust within the ranks. The rebellion was beginning to eat itself from the inside, a rot that spread from the head down. The role of Western mercenaries and the ever-victorious army in the Qing's counterinsurgent efforts cannot be overstated. These foreign forces, motivated by profit and adventure, brought with them superior weaponry and military tactics. Their involvement tipped the scales in favor of the Qing dynasty. The death of Hong Xiuquan was the final nail in the coffin for the Taiping Rebellion. His death left a power vacuum that the already fractured rebellion could not fill. The final battles were brutal and bloody, a desperate struggle of a dying rebellion. But the outcome was inevitable. The Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, the dream of a heavenly kingdom on earth, was shattered. But the impact of the Taiping Rebellion on China and its people would resonate for generations to come. But even in its failure, the rebellion left an indelible mark on China, a wound that would take generations to heal. The dust had barely settled on the battlefield when the full scale of the devastation wrought by the Taiping Rebellion began to dawn on China. The rebellion had been quashed. The once mighty Qing dynasty was left teetering on the brink, its political, social, economic, and military structures in shambles. The rebellion had torn through the fabric of Chinese society like a rampaging dragon, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. The Qing dynasty, once the unchallenged rulers of China, were left weakened and vulnerable. The rebellion had been a battle for the soul of China, a struggle between the old border and the new. And though the rebellion had been crushed, the seeds of change had been sown. The rebellion had accelerated the rise of provincial power, and in the power vacuum left by the weakened Qing dynasty, modern warlords began to rise. The rebellion had also left an indelible mark on China's military. The Taiping rebels had shown that a well-organized, disciplined army could pose a serious threat to the established order. This lesson was not lost on the Qing Dynasty, which began to modernize their military hardware and promote the rise of scholar generals. It served as a potent reminder of the possibility of change, of the power of the people to challenge the status quo. In the wake of the Taiping Rebellion, China was forever transformed. The Qing Dynasty, though victorious, was left weakened, its authority undermined. The rebellion had sparked a cultural revolution, sowed the seeds of change, and paved the way for the rise of provincial power. And even though the rebellion had been quelled, its spirit lives on, echoing through the pages of Chinese history.